Hey guys, welcome to the call. My name is Tim Damron, and Natasha Jordan is also here on the other line over here, right here with us as well. Natasha, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. Been a busy day, but all in all, can't complain. Yahweh's
Same.
been good, blessed. Yep. Everybody's
Amen.
healthy.
Amen.
So,
Amen. Amen.
yep.
So
How you been
what's
doing?
on? You know what? I'm doing great. I'm just, this weather we're having in Texas is so weird. Saturday I'm at the dog park and my dog is swimming and playing and with like 200 dogs out there. It was like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, but for dogs only. And all these preppy little dogs running around. It looked like the backdrop of like one of those dog shows where the dogs just have to get out and go do something because everybody has like really nice dogs. They're all pure whatever. Anyway, so you see everything there. It's like the whole Westerman show there, but it's like 200 of them there. And these dogs are all jumping in the water and having a great time. And this morning we get up and it's 20 something degrees this morning, and it's supposed to get even colder tomorrow. Wow. Wow, wow,
Mhm.
wow. Snow for Central Texas is a possibility tomorrow. How about you guys?
I haven't even paid attention. I think we're supposed to be down in the teens, but I haven't heard anything about
Mhm.
snow.
And I've heard negative temperatures too for like even Dallas. Wow.
Wow.
Welcome to the call, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for showing up. Appreciate you guys being here. Awesome. 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 I'm so glad you guys are here. But no, it's crazy, right? I don't know. Well, it's not crazy. Well, it is crazy. We all know what's going on. That's all. And it's time to get your houses in order. We're going to be talking about getting your houses in order tonight, aren't we, Natasha?
We are.
That's right. We got a UCC and trust class coming up tomorrow night. So I've got a couple of seats left, and I like to keep them small because these are private classes. But we got a couple of seats left. So if you guys are interested in jumping in the class, I'll be giving you guys information how to do it. If you guys are interested down there, and I'm not going to say down there, but because my phones are just down there. Anyway, you guys in Clapper land and you guys out in YouTube land, if you guys are interested, send me a message, okay? If you guys are interested in joining the class, getting more information about the class, we're going to talk about it tonight, but we're going to be talking more about the benefits of the class and kind of what I'm seeing out there everywhere else, man. And I'm glad Christine Caton's on the call. She just joined us, and wow. Now, you know what? And not to toot my own horn, but this is going to be an I told you so moment. Christine, I'm glad you made it on the call. Do you remember that conversation we had about a few months back, everybody, when I said all these people with those special endorsements, that they're really not special at all, and that lots of people's cars are going to get? Christine, what happened? What's going on out there in Brandon land?
It appears as though a car dealer, the sales manager, or somebody forged somebody else's signature on the paperwork.
Uh-oh.
So that special endorsement freaked out the sales manager, and he tried to sign somebody else's name.
Uh-oh. That's securities fraud. Oh boy.
Yeah, on
That's
many
bad.
different places. So
It sure is. Wow. And I'm a former finance manager, and I can tell you that's bad. Christine's taken my debt and foreclosure class, you guys. And that's exactly, I foreclosed on a bank for that very same reason. It took my collateral from them. Completely legit. They even tried to take me to court. It was a kangaroo show, let me tell you. Oh man. So what I'm seeing is that everything that I said was going to happen is coming true. Now we're like 3 or 4 months later after everybody's done all these endorsements and bought Porsches and all kinds of stuff they can't afford, and they're getting picked up. Hey, thank you so much, man. Glad you made it. They're getting picked up right now. And I mean, their cars are getting picked up because people overextended themselves. They thought this stuff was free, didn't they? There they are. All right, Christine is joining us on the other call now. Are you with us, Christine, still?
yes, Kimber.
All right,
Hey Tim, before we go any further, can I jump in
Yes.
for just a second?
Do your thing.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the call. Today is February the 17th, 2025. As we have started a little early today, but I just like to let everybody know that we're here for entertainment purposes only. We're not here to hurt anybody's feelings.
That's right.
As of course, not legal advice. We always advise that you do your own due diligence, your own research. But we are here. We've been through some of these processes, and please feel free to ask any questions, and we will try to answer them to the best of our ability.
That's right. This is going to be an open call, you guys. So I'm going to tell you, first thing we're going to be talking about is a lot of the bad press out there, and those of you guys that have been on my TikTok page or my Clapper page, if you're on either one of those pages, if you go onto those pages, you're going to see that I kind of, there's just a certain person that just keeps following me around, and he drives me absolutely nuts. And if I say his name, I don't know, the skies are probably open up or something, but I'll just tell you, I have a nickname for him, and it's Crooked David. So you guys can figure it out from there. But anyway, he's got this thing, and it's like $2,500 for filing a PMA. What are your thoughts on that, Natasha? This PMA thing?
Is that affidavit of repudiation for your citizenship?
No, that's on the next page. We're still on the first page.
Is that private member association?
Yes.
Oh.
Everybody thinks they're going to open a Costco. And that's what a PMA really is. It's like it's a self-funding 508c3 nonprofit. And why would you pay this guy $2,500? You don't need to.
I don't think you would. I mean,
why would you need to? People open churches cheaper than that. And I mean, I'm not talking about chicken either. I'm talking about like 501c3 organizations. They're open faster than that. That's or cheaper than that. That's ridiculous. That it doesn't cost that much. And Natasha, you've been through the debt and foreclosure class, right? So obviously. And so what do we talk about in that class? We talk about the differences between the 508c3s and the 501s, and what a foundation is, and it kind of how all these things work in succession. So a PMA is a private membership thing. Okay. Here's the thing about it. And I know a certain somebody that did this. They turned a hair salon into a PMA, but it's out in the middle of public. Now I get it. If you wanted to do like a PMA and you were like, Vival Sassoon or something, whatever, you cut hair. I don't know. I have bald, so I have nothing about that. Anyway, but I mean, Natasha probably could help you out there, not me. But I'm just saying that, like, in that regard, that might make sense. You could probably create your own crowd and have your own. I mean, he's got his own shampoos. You might as well have his own people to cut their hair. So he could have like a PMA. So in that particular case, everybody signs up, everybody pays, and Vival Sassoon comes and cuts everybody's hair. So everybody's happy, right? That's the benefit of a PMA. The way I'm seeing these PMAs presented is like something about like a bunch of just really foggy water. I'm going to say nothing really definite, just like there's a trust somewhere in this thing over here, but then you kick yourself out of the country. And then there's that, what you were just talking about, that AOR, which is that affidavit for repudiation of citizenship. Bad idea, guys. Don't do that. Don't do it. Okay? Don't kick yourself out of this country. Oh, but I was born here. Yeah, but you could kick yourself out of this country too. Oh, but you have to go and you have to, I'm just going through all the things that I hear. Oh, but you have to go through a process and you have to declare yourself this way. Well, that's one road to do it. But I'm telling you this, Natasha, I talked to somebody last week that sent a PMA off, or it's not a PMA, sent an AOR off. They sent it to the president. Oh. Not this president. Man, he will deport you for looking sideways. Sorry, I'm even to come out like that, but I'm serious. You know, I mean, he's like, he is doing everything that I said was going to happen 4 years ago, and even last year. Remember, Natasha?
Yeah, you said that everybody was going to get deported. I mean, because essentially that's what you're doing. You're saying, hey, I don't want to be a citizen anymore. So if you're not, then wouldn't you get kicked out of the country like an illegal? That's the way I look at it.
Well, it's happening.
Yeah.
And they're like, where are you sending them to? They're sending them to like Asian countries where people don't care. Yeah. Like, not okay. Like Thailand. Thailand will take anybody. They'll tie your land with anybody. That's why I call it Thailand. I don't know. Full of jokes today. Sorry. Anyway, but no, seriously, it's something to that effect. Because that's what's going on. And that's what I'm seeing in our dailies. And it concerns me, Natasha. It concerns me because we're losing our good people. We're losing really good people that are really trying to find an honest way to do this whole thing properly. You know?
Well, yeah, and that's what I really like about your UCC one is whenever I first started hearing about state nationals and you have to give up your citizenship, become a state national, you was like, oh no, you don't do that, you know, and you explained it to me. And then, you know, after taking the class and you're like, you use your straw man over here for your commerce, you use you for the private. And once, you know, you start understanding that, then you're like, oh, okay, because me here in the little private, I can't do the commerce. So, you know, getting that explained to me. And then the way that I start moving in the private and moving into my holding company and doing all that, I can actually be more powerful on my private side than I ever could on my commerce side.
Well, so and prospectively, Natasha, look how powerful an entity can be in your own personal lives. Think about that. All of you guys, everybody that's on the call, just think about that. I mean, you could get a company, like all it takes is like just think about the court system or CPS. CPS is a company, right? And I'm not talking about the electric company. I'm talking about the ones that come and kidnap children. Those guys, okay? So imagine, look at how much damage that entity has done to families. And I mean, don't unmute, don't unmute over there. Anyway, Christine, shh. But anyway, I'm just telling you, Christine is, I can tell her she's already getting fired up over there. But what I'm saying is that, you know, CPS is an entity, okay? But it's an entity made up of a bunch of individuals, okay? And these individuals are empowered by that entity. Now that seems almost ridiculous. That seems like that just couldn't happen. But dang it, look at how many children these people have kidnapped. Look at how many lives these people have destroyed, okay, because of their unnecessary intervention. A lot. Look how many children have been sucked out of people's houses where they probably shouldn't have been. And these things happened because of the power of an entity. And the entity is able to move in equity. And when you're able to move in equity, let me give you guys another example of equity. If you go to a concert and the place is full, there's an energy, and I know because I've been a musician for a long time, but there's a certain energy that moves in that room, and it's like nothing you've ever felt before. It's so, and I'm talking about not just for the musicians, but for the people in the area as well, the people that are experiencing it. And what you're experiencing is a frequency of people getting together and being in agreement. And when you have people in agreement like that, it's powerful. It's persuasive. Look at how many musicians get like thousands of people to just say stuff, you know, and start chanting songs out of nowhere. This happens out of equity. Okay. This is what they're doing. Now, don't scoff at it, because that's what Crooked David and his people are doing. They're looking at this going, oh, that's just, we're going to go back to our stuff over here, you know? And I'm here to tell you guys, equity is powerful. What if you could harness that same equity that Bono did at the concert? because you had that much power. You had that many people behind you. This is how Donald Trump got into office again. Okay. Because of equity, because he was able to change people's opinions and their decision-making processes, partly because of other things. Sleepy Joe over there was playing with his mask all day. I don't know what was going on, but he wasn't doing a whole lot. Okay. And, you know, so because of that, things just got decayed, and now we have a different change. And it's because the mindset of the people changed. Equity is so powerful. And that's what I'm going to be teaching you guys in this class. When you start using these streets of commerce, okay, what you notice is that there's no more discrimination. There's no more boxes to check to say, are you male or female? Are you white, Caucasian? Are you brown? Are you confused? Are you a mix of this and that? Are you whatever? I mean, there's none of that. There's no more sorting anymore. It means it's a simple situation that you walk into, and you're either ready to race or you're not ready to race. And you're either going to go or you're going to fail. But those streets are open either way. And this is the beautiful thing about knowing how to operate in this other place. And when you do that, it gives you the ability to move, just like Natasha said, stronger. Okay? If you could move with the same strength as CPS and move things like they do and destroy people's lives, imagine all the good things you can do. Imagine all the really, really great things that you could do, that Yahweh could just give you the ability to do. And part of that is getting your house in order. You know, that's a huge part of it. You know, what is this? The thing that he's doing too. Oh, something else I want to talk about. American State National. Does anybody know what an oxymoron is? Does anybody know? Can anybody tell me? Don't tell me it's a sovereign citizen, because everybody already knows that. That's bathroom programming as far as I'm concerned these days. But hold on a second. Send that out there. So how many of you guys have I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. I pushed a button and I lost my complete train of thought. But look, guys, when we're operating and you're operating in equity and you're operating through your business, and you can create, okay? So this is something that low vibrational people don't know how to do, okay? This class, it's not for everybody. It's not, okay? People that are low vibrational, these are people that are low achievers, don't do anything. They're waiting for a free ride. This is kind of their mentality. They're used to someone else taking care of whatever they have going on, okay? These are low vibrational people, okay? People that are high vibrational people are usually very much they're overachievers. These are the folks that talk too much. You ask too many questions. You're always too much of the good thing. Doesn't matter what's going on. You're just too much of a good thing. Just like Natasha. Natasha is just, she's always bubbly, happy, nice, sweet, polite. You know, she should have told me to shut up today, but she didn't. She was so nice about it and just slid right in there. And you know what? I love that about her. So these are the things that we have to capitalize on. Okay. These are the things that help us move and to move in these streets, as they say, as the song says, right, Natasha? You know, as we move in these streets, the streets are equity. These streets are commerce. We have to do commerce because we don't have any money. So in this class, what we do is we define the parties, who they really are. You know, who is the straw man? What is his purpose? Or what's her purpose? I mean, Natasha, you've been through the class. What is a straw man's purpose? What does it do? I mean, what do you I mean, you know what I mean? Because now you've done this for a while. So like, you know, how does it look now? Different, right?
It does. To me, it's the fake person, I guess you could say, that sits over here that was created by the government, and that they run, you know, everything on on that person, but technically it's on us. But that's where you need to actually learn to separate that straw person over there, to learn to make them do commerce, so anything that you register or fill out an application, kind of anything like that, that's all on them. And that way, at the end of the day, you can say, nope, all that business has been taken care of over there. So I get to go home. I get to sit, drink a cup of coffee, talk to the husband, the kids, and that's it. Books are closed for the day, and enjoy yourself.
So it's like a mindset.
Yeah.
So it's like a complete change in mindset, like your priority changes. I mean, so what happens is when you start operating, I think, and I kind of do this, I explain it this way because this is how I fell into all this. Okay. I woke up in 2015. I went down all these rabbit holes. And here's what I am going to tell you. In 2015, besides Anna Von Wrong, there was, okay. There'll be no AI on the Uber conference board tonight. That's not good. So anyway, hey, Christine, do you need to have both these lines on? Can you kill one of these? Because it's just sucking up bandwidth. If you could kill one of these, that'd be great. Or just put it on speaker or something. Anyway, so one of the things that that we're going to be talking about is and I'm sorry, I lost my place completely. Natasha, help me out. Where was I? Sorry. Because I knew it was important.
Yeah, no, you were just talking about, separating the straw man and your everyday life. Yeah.
Well, it's like a job because your mindset changes, because what you start to realize after you start isolating your commerce is that you go to work every day and you work in that straw man factory. Okay. And that straw man factory becomes the trust, and that becomes your job. Okay. Your personal commerce job. And when you start treating that, like some of us have never run a business before, Natasha, some of us don't know anything about running a business, never owned a business. And how are they going to do this? Well, this is what I teach you in the class. I teach you guys how to get your house in order, how to get some strategies so that you can put things together. Now, everybody's situation is different. So I don't have a cookie cutter plan to do this. Okay. But here's what I will tell you. My plan works from here to here. No matter how you get there, it works from here to here. So there's no mysteries to any of this stuff. When you take this class, you're going to start here. And after I explain, after a few hours, you're going to go, I'm over here. You're not going to be mentally exhausted and go, oh, I can't do it anymore. Because that's what a lot of these guys are doing. They'll sit there and talk you up for 6 hours and just talk in circles and just confuse you and talk about absolutely nothing. I'm going to tell you, and I don't like to talk about teachers too often, but Brandon Joe Williams is kind of losing his franchise right now anyway. So, and it's just because a lot of the stuff that he's putting out there was experimental. He was talking about, remember that, Natasha, he was doing those special endorsements.
Yeah. For the vehicles.
Yeah. And now all those people are getting their vehicles picked up. I mean, Christine was talking about that earlier. And I mean, and that's not fair to them either. And look at the price that they're going to have to pay, Natasha. They're going to have like repossessions on their credit. They're going to have a hard time. Now, the next loan that they get, they're going to have to pay more money for than the last loan because of the interest rate increase. It's going to happen. Yeah. That's crazy.
I mean, that's crazy. And for everything that you told me as far as mine, there's a lot of things going back to the vehicle with the 1099A with Brandon Joe Williams and other names. There, how you write it and then you give it to the dealership and do this, and it's a blank check and a bunch of malarkey, more or less. And you're like, no, this is what you need to do because this is why, and once you start explaining it, I mean, I done it step for step and everything turned out perfect. I went to the bank, I done this, I done that, went, got my truck and, then filed my 1099A the proper way. And we're on the back end of, filing taxes and stuff like that and, getting the money back off of it. So, I mean, everything that you're saying, as a great teacher, putting it out there, it does work. So.
And you'll cross the finish line. Yeah, I actually talked to her tax preparer, actually 2 of them. And the first one was kind of a junior tax preparer, so I think she got a headache. But the second one, he knew what I was talking about, and it took about 5 minutes on the phone. And then once he changed gears, it was downhill from there. It was done. And this is how easy this process can really be. People that are trying to confuse you or deceive you, they're going to talk in circles, not make a point about anything, but just sound like they know something. Look, I don't care how smart they sound. Okay. Make sure they can answer. Make sure they've got proof. Make sure they've got somebody like Natasha, and I have hundreds, actually thousands of other students that have done this process and been very successful at it. We talk about cashing contracts. Those of you guys that are talking about going into private banking and things like that, these are, you got to have the right vehicle. Okay. I mean, think about how many people can go to the drag races with a wheelchair. Nobody, unless you want to get laughed at. You know what I mean? Unless you're like part of the sideshow over there, nobody's going to take you seriously. Why? Vehicle, Natasha. It's all about vehicle. So, and have you guys ever heard the term, Natasha? You've probably heard the term people operating in their infancy. Have you ever heard that or something like that? Right? It's something they're still in their infancy. They're 60 years old, 50 years old, and you're a ward of the court because you're still in your infancy and stuff like that. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've also heard it in some churches too, talk about that. So
that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's a little leak in the boat. Wow. I didn't know it. I didn't know that was still on the floor. Wow. But yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. And some churches actually talk about it because this is grooming the public. So when you say a word in front of somebody enough times, it desensitized it. Okay. So if a perfect example is Natasha is if I were to say sex on TV, and I said that today, people are like, yeah, so what? If you said that in the 1950s, you'd create a stampede.
Oh, you'd have people following out.
There was no sex on TV and nobody talked about that. They didn't do that. They didn't even have, there were no Wings commercials. There was none of that because that was all too sensitive to be talking about on TV. They couldn't do that. But then what happened? Somebody started talking about it on TV. Women started running around topless. And telling everybody they needed their rights right now. Oh no, that was J.G. Brantworth. Anyway, but it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is all this extremism started happening. People started speaking about it. And then what happened as a result? People became desensitized. So by them talking about these sorts of things to us when we were children, it gave us a limited capacity of understanding, but ultimately, it kept us in a little box where we only knew so much, and we were content with that. Wouldn't you agree, Natasha? That's kind of how I used to see it. They just put us in a little box and say, okay, like home equity. Everybody knows what home equity is. You hear it all day long on TV long. Oh, cash out now on your home equity loan. Get your home equity loan. Home equity line of credit. Get this, get that, get this. So everybody's talking about home equity, but who's talking about equity? Nobody.
I didn't even know what it was.
And that's the compartment. That's that compartment they want you to stay in. So this is why they don't talk about what equity is. Equity is top shelf stuff. This is what we're going to be talking about in this class. Okay. This is the stuff that very few people understand. And the reason why very few people understand this is because, or very few people are able to teach this properly, it's because they haven't done it. And when you haven't done it, you can't wrap your head around it, much less teach anybody else it. I'm sorry, but you can't. I know David Straight, Crooked David. Sorry about that, everybody. Crooked David follows me, and I've heard him mimic things that I say, like to the T. I've heard him recite entire books, Natasha, like they were his own words. I mean, the guy is be careful, okay? Dangerous. And I've heard him do it. I mean, matter of fact, he had me hooked for like, I don't know, I think about a day and a half, maybe. And, then after like the second time I heard it, I started picking up on the fact that this guy I mean, he starts out on the right track because then he's saying all this stuff that I say. He's saying the same words that I say. And I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, my God. I found a brother. I thought, I thought I found my long lost twin or something. No, I didn't. He's an actor. And matter of fact, Chad here on the call was with old Crooked David from the very beginning, actually. And he's been on the show before, actually told some pretty big war stories about this guy. And I mean, he's just not a healthy guy on the inside up here. This guy assumes more identities than anybody I've ever seen. What is he this week? I think he's a congressman or something, or state senator. Did you see that? Something like that. No. He's like a senator in Oregon now.
Oh no. Yeah, no, the last time I heard he was a military retired something on that. I was like,
Oh yeah, he was a Navy SEAL. Yeah, that was his first thing, and that's gonna get him like arrested. Yeah, he's gonna get in trouble for that. That's totally not cool. That's not cool. Hey, welcome to the call, everybody. Glad you guys made it here. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. I so appreciate that. But yeah, this stuff's got to stop. Okay, look, I want to take confusion out of the situation completely altogether. And the way to take confusion out of it is to just walk the path. Just go and do it. And this is exactly what we do here. We've been doing this. Gosh, Natasha, how long have you been? You've been on the show since what? About 9 months now? 10 months now? Hey, Terry.
Yeah, June, July of last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and so much has changed, these things are happening. And I wanted to talk about American state nationals, and I wanted to talk about oxymorons. Oh, Terry's got a question. I'll get to that in just a second. But I want to talk a little bit about oxymorons. And an oxymoron is something that doesn't make any sense, like a Def Leppard. Well, no, that does make sense. But that makes actually good sense. But it could happen. It's a medical condition. But I'm just saying, like, somebody that is pro-choice, okay, but then they're over here, but then they're over here supporting the pro-lifers too, all at the same time. Like, that makes no sense. And when you look at the word or the conjunction that they've created, American, state, national, okay? American talks about a landmass, okay? The state talks about a much smaller landmass within the big landmass. And then the national goes back to, now we're going to the other jurisdiction, which is like federal jurisdiction. So I don't understand what these people are. I mean, you see what I'm saying? You see how it doesn't make any sense? And it's going in 3 different directions. American, state, national, 3 different directions. It makes no sense. And there's no definition for an American state national. There's no legal definition for it. Nothing. It's completely made up.
Contradicting. Yeah. Very contradicting.
It is. It's an oxymoron, because if you say you're all those things, then somebody might send you down for a psych evaluation. It could happen. Anyway, Terry's got a question here. Terry says, after paying off the note for the car, can you get the value of the note back without having the trust back? Of course you can. Yep. You just move as the borrower. You move as the, when you write the letter, you just let them know that you're the beneficiary of that account, of the car account, the vehicle account, or the contract account, whatever that contract account number is on. You're the beneficiary of that. So you're no longer the borrower anymore. You're the beneficiary. So remember that you come into the door that way. And when you come into the door that way, they can't send you to the 1-800 I'm pissed off number. They can't do that to you. Well, they shouldn't. Anyway, anybody else have any questions out there? We'd love to answer them. Happy to do it. Welcome everybody that's here on the call. Glad you guys made it. It's a good day. Anytime. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about in this class that's coming up, and like I said, it's coming up tomorrow. I got a couple seats left. But one of the things we're going to be talking about is how to operate privately and then still be out in the public at the same time. How do we use all this stuff? Okay. How do we use the driver's license? And people, I mean, and I think the American State National people, they say you should get rid of your driver's license. And then they say that they're foreigners, right? Natasha, they say they're foreigners because they say they're foreign nationals to the United States. But that would mean that you would be living somewhere else. And you can't be a foreign national living in Texas or Louisiana or anywhere here. You can be a foreign national and go live in Spain somewhere, Mexico. Ask Kenny. He's a foreign national now. Kenny Plaster. He's a foreign national now for sure.
You know, the one thing though I really don't understand is if they dismiss their nationality and they do all these other things in their driver's license, what are they trying to accomplish though? You know what I mean? Like what? I mean, with all the confusion, it makes my head hurt a little bit.
Well, no, I agree with you. I agree with you because here's what we're trying to do, everybody. Okay, we're not picking on anybody. Okay, we're trying to rationalize this. How do you rationalize this decision? How do you rationalize pulling the plug on everything that makes you an American, a real American? Okay, you. And that means a real American is somebody that had forefathers that fought for this country, that fought for freedom, and they fought for justice, not just us, but justice. Okay. And they fought for equality and they fought for all those things. Those are your relatives. That's your heritage. This is who we are. And we should be proud of that. We should be real proud. We should be ashamed of ourselves in some areas. That's for sure. But overall, we should be proud of that. You should be proud to be an American. So I don't know how you could be an American State National and then be a Trump supporter at the same time. Because
do you think that they?
I mean, he's in Washington D.C. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say though, do you think that they're like mad because they still think that the United States is a corporation and they're trying to get out from underneath that and do some loopholes and some backwards bending and try to claim they're a state national, you know?
Yes, or perhaps try to save their children from Children's Protective Services, and they'll do anything they can to get away, and they're misled. Perhaps that's it.
That's a good point.
People just
Christine.
want to know how to keep their children from the parasites. What about that?
I'm glad you brought that up. Holy cow, man. Thank you, Christine. Wow. So you know what? She's right. If your kids are operating in trust, if you're operating in trust and your children are taken care of by your trust, then you have a plan or an agreement that's in place. Are you guys upset that, family court is just ripping people apart? You should be. And those of you that aren't upset, well, you just haven't experienced it yet. And when you do have the pleasure of experiencing family court, what you're going to find is that everything moves in equity, nothing moves in law. Okay. Matter of fact, they'll break the law right there in front of you. I've seen it happen personally. And they'll do it right there in front of you. Okay. And try to pass it off as good and with a little witchcraft, and hopefully they'll hold it together. This class, we're going to be talking about how to do that. We're going to be talking about how to have an agreement in place that supersedes a potential relationship with CPS. Now, I have, Christine, I'm glad you brought that up. About 2 years ago, we don't have too many CPS cases. I don't see too many of them, but when I do, and it has something to do with any of my students, I'm on it. And I had one of my students reach out to me. CPS came out to her house, and it was some anonymous, and I'm glad they got rid of this too, by the way. It was some anonymous caller that came out to the house and this and that. Well, all these kids were held in trust. All these kids were being taken care of under the trust. And when you're in that kind of position, it's kind of like being under a doctor's care. It's kind of like off limits. Everybody's off limits. You get to stay in your bubble, and that's where you're at. And that's a good place to be, especially when you got to move around in those jungles out there, man. It's not easy. And I got to tell you guys, man, learning this process really changed my life. It changed my life because I understood for the first time how to put my house in order And I'm not saying you guys don't know how to put your houses in order. I'm saying that I understood for the first time how to put my house in order, but to keep it in a place where it was beneficial. You know, the more that we hold on to cash, Natasha, what happens to it? Somebody taxes it, spends it, fines us for it, something. I mean, it's like a bad idea to hold on to cash, because if you got cash, either your kids are going to take it, right? Amen to that, right, Natasha? Or grandkids, whatever. Somebody's taking that cash. But if it's in your trust, it's in your trust. And now that becomes your business. And then all of your commerce becomes trust business. And then when all this happens and you've moved to this point in your life, this is where you start operating privately and nobody sees you, pays attention to you. Nobody cares anymore. This is where we want to be. This is where we want to be in this game. And so that we understand where all the switches are so that we can use them, like your driver's license, your passports. You know, what do all those things really mean? I'm going to show you what they mean. I'm going to talk about what they mean. How do we do tax equity and discharge? Keep going up the line, man. We got more. And we do it. This is how I learned to put all this stuff together. This is, you know, Natasha, when I woke up in 2015, there were all kinds of teachers that were telling us to do all kinds of silly things. All kinds of silly things. I mean, gosh, let's see. I keep going to Winston Shroud. I always pick on that guy, but more so than that, who was that other guy that was out there? I'm trying to think. It was that grouchy guy. What was his name? Do you remember his name?
Oh, no. What was?
He was always grouchy, mean, and everybody was coming after him, and he had much respect because, you know, he would talk so rough and he was so mean and so short with people, and people would like, well, sir, could you tell me this and this and this? And they was doing nothing but just like, there we go. Patrick Devine. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for the note there. Yes. Patrick Devine. I knew him personally. Okay. Met him, talked to him. He didn't have it. And here's how I knew he didn't have it, Natasha, even back then. I spent 23 years in the car business. I already knew how a dealership operated from back to front. Why? Because I'd worked in every place in the dealership possible. I started washing cars in the back and worked. Next thing you know, I became the finance manager. And that's through the service department. I've been a service manager. I've done it all. I mean, really have. So I've been to the little partitioned office upstairs, and I know everything they do up there because I've worked from so many different parts of the dealership. So when Patrick was telling me how to do these processes on how to go get a free car, you know, he would basically kind of set you up to do things that the average person really couldn't do. For example, one of those things was, Natasha, was to actually get a contract, a hard contract, and walk out of the dealership with it, all 3 copies, and them not keep a copy. That's really hard to do, and they won't do it. And the reason why, Natasha, is because all those hard copies, they're digital now, but back then they were all actual hard copies. They were all numbered. They all had bond numbers on them. And as a finance manager, we were accountable for those bond numbers. So this was serious stuff, man, back then. And it meant something. So, you know, we have to kind of keep these things in mind and remember what's going on in these processes. And this is why I'm telling people, you're going to get lost really quick if you listen to these hotheads. You got to stay away from these people. Let me tell you, Yahweh, look at the people that Yahweh is blessing in your lives and follow the fruits of that. Okay. If you've got somebody that's angry, it's unapproachable, and people have to cower around them to come talk to them, that's somebody playing a game on you. Okay. If you've got somebody that's so important that, you know, you just can't come and talk to him, and he's really just an average dude like Crooked David, and he's separating himself like that from the public, this is something you need to worry about. This is not okay. If somebody is asking you to do anything that's dishonorable, anything that could ruin your credit, anything that could get you thrown out of your house, get your car repossessed, get your home repossessed, any kind of liabilities like that, you should not do it. Stop. Okay. don't take risks for these people. You know, Natasha, how many people have we seen come through, you know, over the years? I mean, of course, Natasha was a student too, that, you know, felt succumb to all these scams and things and got pulled into this stuff. I mean, so many, right?
Yeah. And just in the past year and a half, I've seen a lot of teachers too that have come and gone. And I think that's sometimes why we can't remember their names, because, you know, they're off in the wind somewhere.
Well, they're in jail.
You know,
I mean, Winston Stroud's in jail. Patrick Devine disappeared, and he's not dead. And then there was that other guy, the guy that knew everything, the religious guy. What was his name? He had a web page. He had a web page, and some foreign people stole all of his stuff and his templates. And then, you know, it was a big mess. And that guy died penniless, by the way, completely penniless. After he was unable to teach, he was completely penniless. And when you're dealing with somebody like that, that's somebody that just, they're low vibrational people, and they're picking up off of high vibrational people. That's what they're trolling for. You know, it's sad. We could do better, you know?
But that's what I like about you, though, in the classes and stuff, you know, not with just the UCC coming up, but, you know, foreclosing, you know, your court cases. I mean, you can look on YouTube right now and see the ones you talking with the judge, you know, so you have your proof on your processes that actually do work. So,
that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And, you know, and there's a certain threshold that happens once you've, you know, not tooting my own horn too much, just a little bit. But there's a certain threshold that you cross once you start operating in the private and you start seeing. So once you start doing this and you start seeing these things habitually, you start learning, and you start learning what you're doing again and again and again and again and again. And what happens is you start perfecting it. Okay. Not completely changing the way you're doing things, not say, oh, I found a new way to do things over here. You're perfecting what you have. Okay. And if you're doing that, that means you're on the right path. If you're poking around looking at this and this and this and this and this and this, you're not perfecting what you have. You're just looking for gold somewhere, is what you're doing. You're looking for the big payday, and it just doesn't operate that way. It just really doesn't. It's unfortunate that it doesn't, but it just doesn't. In this UCC class, it's a 2-day class, to tell you guys about it. It's a 2-day class. We do 3 hours. We're going to do 3 hours tomorrow, and then 3 hours after that. It's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. And the first day, we're going to be talking about how to separate the straw man. How does everything about the straw man. We're not going to get it all tonight, but you guys can ask questions if you want to, and I'm down to go ahead and answer them. All right, let's see. Somebody just said something here. It says they said the United States is defined as the DC United States place. Oh, okay. You know what? And actually wants to sign up for the class. So anyway, let me just go back into telling you guys about the class then. Sorry, I thought it was a different question. And I'm about to answer that question. So the class, the first day is going to be a 3-hour class. The second day is going to be another 3 hours. Okay. When we're done with this, you're going to know who you are in this process, how to open your bank accounts, how to fund your trust, and how to set up your foundation so that you can discharge your debt. Okay. Those of you guys doing purchases, doing things like that, I'm going to show you guys how to really discharge your debt. Okay. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a free ride, but what it does mean is that you're going to recoup. Okay. So for the equity and the things that you put forward, you could now reap and get things back like you're supposed to. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, but keep in mind, we can't do a lot of this as individuals. Okay. Because our little Social Security numbers only discharge debt. That's all they do. But when we step out of that and we start operating out of trust, we start operating with an EIN, now we're on these roads of equity. And they don't care what color you are. They don't care what you do. You just get to go from here to here every single time without fail. And you're going to see that through all my classes, that we operate in equity and we just keep winning. So the question down here is how do we sign up for the class? Go to my website, YAH, communityoutreach.com/workshops. So if you go to House of Yah, communityoutreach.com/workshops, you'll be able to set an appointment with me. Actually, you know what? There's no way to do that. Let's not set appointments. Tomorrow, give my office a call. 210, write this down. 210-605-0144. Call my office tomorrow. Let's do an interview tomorrow, okay? My office hours are between 9 a.m. and 4, okay? So between 9 a.m. and 4, give my office a call, 210-605-0144. I'll be talking to you personally, and I want to ask questions. I want to know where you are in your walk, so that I can shape this class around getting you to your goals. Okay. What do you want to do with this? You know, what are your ambitions? What do you do? Do you make bird houses, or do you just make birds? You know, whatever you do, we're going to try to trim this thing down. I have another student that's taking the class, and this person is not a United States citizen at all. So I'm going to show her how to operate in trust. She has a green card, of course, but I'm going to show her how to open up a trust, set up her trust, operate in trust, and then they don't see her anymore. Nobody sees her anymore. They don't care, because you're just the worker bee running around. You're like the Frito-Lay guy that nobody cares about because you don't even have a name. You're just the Frito-Lay guy. You know what I mean? Or the donut guy, or the taco guy. You know, in San Antonio, it'd be the taco guy. You know, that's who that guy is. But, you know, or Natasha would have the crawfish guy. I don't know. She's in Louisiana. Whatever you guys got over there. But it's how we lose our individuality because we're circumvented by a commercial product. Okay. When you start operating in trust, it works the same way. And I know this is really hard for some of you guys to wrap your heads around, but get into this class and I'm going to show you how it's done. This is how I did it. So let me check any more messages we got here. So yeah, if you guys are interested in signing up for the class, call my office tomorrow. I have 3 seats, maybe 3. I'm going to say I'm going to say 2 because I think she's definitely going to be there. So let's just say I think I have 2 seats left. Okay. Call my office tomorrow, 210-605-0144 after 9 a.m. Central Time. And I'll give you the whole lowdown on the class. We'll have a talk. And then we'll see you guys in class, and I'll show you guys how to put the thing together for you. Okay. It's not done with all this extra silly stuff. It's really not done this way. We're going to simplify it. It's actually pretty simple. It's not that difficult at all. We just have rules that we have to operate by, just like anything else. What do you think, Natasha? What were your thoughts like after you took the class for the first time?
Everything started kind of coming to light. The way that you explained it, don't get me wrong. It was, I don't know, 5 or 6 documents that you had to go through, fill out, which really wasn't that bad. I think it took a day or 2. But after all that, I started seeing how, as you're talking, that we separate this, we separate that, and why you actually do everything, because like you said, it's a full circle, more or less. It's, you go to work 9 to 5 and you keep working, you pay your bills.
Yep.
And it's an ongoing process. If you're lucky, you get to retire at 65, 70. To where this right here, you can actually put everything in your holding company, put it in there for your beneficiaries. And then, so whenever you actually take and put that money on those bills, that electric bill, water bill, your house note or anything like that, and you get to use this vehicle, your trust or holding company. And at the end of the tax year, instead of it just, going out the bucket, you actually get to put it back in there for your beneficiaries again. So it's just a way of using your money and your time more wisely,
That's
and
right.
getting it back.
So, and it's being able to retain it too, because that's something that these companies get to do, and we don't get to do that, do we? We just pay. Feels like, right?
And then you get to look at, look at your businesses and stuff, how they stay in business. One of the hardest things for me was whenever you say discharge, I've always thought of discharge of like a bankruptcy, you know, kind of like you get in debt too much, you go to the lawyer and they completely wipe it clean, you know, and then you get to start over again. Would you kind of explain it as that is what you're doing at the end of the year, you know, so you're kind of discharging your debt and then, you know, putting it back into your account, wiping it clean? Because I know we're the ones that have to do that.
That's right. And I mean, and it's exactly that. Think about everywhere that you hear the word discharge. When you leave bankruptcy court, you discharge a bankruptcy court, right? When you leave court cases, you discharge the order, you discharge the court case. If it's criminal, you could discharge the criminal charge. You could discharge probation. So, and then the other places, which is my favorite place where people discharge stuff at, but nobody really thinks about it, is the hospital. Stay right here. Don't move. We haven't discharged you yet. No, stay in the room. How many times have you guys heard that and never understood why? Well, I'm about to tell you why. And I tell you guys this in the class too, but I'll throw you some nuggets out there. We don't want to gatekeep too much, but every time you heard the word discharge, that means that somebody went to the treasury and got paid. Well, can't you go to the treasury? But guess who can go to the treasury? That commercial business. See, and what turned me on to this, Natasha, is when, you know, these crybabies are out there, they're always crying. I don't mean to say that. I shouldn't say that, but they're always crying about stupid stuff and stupid things they can't solve. And it's silly. But you know what? 2 seconds, guys. Sorry. Sorry about that. I had to step away for just a second. Anyway, so what turned me on to this is that you've heard these pot stirrers out there, right? That talk about how your employers are ripping you off. Have you heard that one? Because you're paying yourself to go to work. Okay. So technically you're paying yourself to go to work. So what? And so what we're learning from that process, and what I saw from that process was, wait a minute, the business paid me, and then Natasha, because I got a 1099 or a W-2 or any other Class 5 gift form, because I filled that out on behalf of that payment that they paid to me, which wasn't a payment at all, actually. It's not even in gold and silver. So it's just some notes they gave me. So I basically did the accounting and confirmed with the IRS that they did pay me $80,000 last year, basically, or whatever. And by doing that, because the assessment was made, in other words, the funds or the revenue went from here to here, and you said it did, then the employer gets to discharge that off of your social, and it goes back to the employer. So what that means to the employer is that if he had $2 million in profits last year, because he paid me $80,000, now his taxable income is now $80,000 less. So once I wrapped my mind around this commercial vehicle and how they're using us and doing this with us, that told me I need a commercial vehicle. Because my kids used to be, well, they're not in my pockets anymore, but when they were younger, they were in my pockets all the time. And we need to keep track of this stuff. It got ridiculous sometimes because I love them so much. But still, it got ridiculous, and it always does. So this is how we fix this. What you do is you take this part of your life and you treat it like a business. You operate it like a business. And the benefit of operating it like a business, Natasha, is that you get to discharge all your debt. And what does that mean? So if you're discharging your debt versus the hospital discharging your debt, that means you're going to the pay window. That means you're going to benefit. No, that's not what that means. It means your trust is going to benefit. And what's really cool about your trust benefiting is that you, in this scenario, are just along for the ride. You're at work 24/7 pretty much in that regard. And somebody lost us and came back in. Hope y'all made it back in. Anyway, so this is the stuff that happens in this process. This is how your life is going to change. Because now, instead of just operating with the Big Chief notebook and the silly stuff that we had, we've now got some real power. We've now got some real ability to start paying attention to things like contracts. We just did a class. I was talking to you guys about contracts, right? Look, here's one right here. Remember these security agreements? Did you know you can cash these? If you have the right vehicle, you can. If you've got a trust open, you can. And these things can really, really do you well. So if we're operating in trust, that gives us a whole nother perspective on how to do business, okay? It doesn't mean we need to divorce ourselves from this country at all. It means we need to roll up our sleeves, and there's a real opportunity, okay? And we're about to see some big changes in our economy, huge changes in our economy. Things are going to get expensive too. How are we going to keep up with that? If you understand the discharge game, it won't matter how much gas costs. It won't matter how much any of those things cost, because they purposely do these things, Natasha, just to keep everybody in their boxes, to keep poor people poor and rich people richer. So if gas goes up to $12 a gallon, the people that don't understand discharge and don't understand how to do this, the ones that are filling up their buckets, the ones that can't keep them full, the ones that are doing good just to keep insurance on their cars, okay? Those people are going to be priced out of a situation. But for the people that understand how this works, they're going to profit off of that. So while this many people that think that the country's in bad shape, all the richer people up over here, the country's not in bad shape at all. They're just discharging more debt now. I hope that blew somebody's mind tonight, because that's exactly how this game works.
Yeah.
I think we did a wonderful job tonight, and I went a little bit over, but Natasha, I'm going to hand it to you and let you close this out. What are your thoughts on all this?
This is probably, all my classes I love them, but at the same time, this is my foundation where I actually got started, where I started understanding. I got away from the teachers that were kind of running around in circles. I found you answered all my questions. You had the proof, you were very kind, very sweet. And when I didn't understand something, you didn't get aggravated. You're like, okay, well, let's rethink this and let you understand how to work it. And then sometimes too, I'm still like, I don't know. But anyway,
I'm still here for you. Here,
yeah, right. I know you were for my CPAs, but it's actually, if basically, if you are tired of playing the game, you want to get outside of that box, learn how to do contracts, learn how to do your commercial business, stay private. This is a very wonderful, class to take. And then, like Tim said, you build on top of that. You do your travel and drive. So if you get stopped by cops, to keep you in that, stay in trust, stay in that private, and then your discharge classes, how to do this, how to do your contracts. What if somebody comes at you in your trust and says, hey, you owe this, and I'm like, no, let's prove it, But all in all, they're all great classes. It's just wonderful. It really is. But yeah, if y'all want, contact Tim, and take the classes, and I hope that I see y'all there. And it's been a great for this afternoon, and I hope everybody has many blessings.
I hope you guys all do too. Thank you so much, Natasha. Hey, and you know what, guys, give us a call tomorrow, 210-605-0144. Give me a call tomorrow at my office. I'll be there at 9 a.m. Terry, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys. And any of my other students out there, if you guys want to take a refresher on the class, it's $175 to take those, really inexpensive. So if you want to take a refresher, you can. Just give me a call and let me know. We'd love to talk with you guys. And I think somebody thought I was in a Minecraft movie. Wow. I don't know how to take that. But anyway, it's all good. Good night, everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Be blessed, everybody. And thank you so much, Natasha. I appreciate you. Good night.
You're welcome.